Hello, welcome back to Papa-Norr Story Time. My name is Papa-Norr. As you already know, we are reading a very interesting story. A story about Kofi, who's got so much spare time on his hands and he's being very naughty. Today we are reading book 4 of the adventures of Naughty Kofi. For those of you who have already subscribed to the channel, I'd like to say a very big thank you. If you're a returning subscriber, a new subscriber, please make sure that you watch the video. Very important, watch the video, like it, subscribe to it, and click on that notification button. Thank you very much for doing that. And don't forget to spread the video. Tell all your friends, family, and everybody else. This is Papa-Norr Story. We are about to do book 4 of the adventures of Naughty Kofi. And today we have the author one more time. Her name is Nana Ama Bachman. Nana Ama, take it away.
Hello, dear listeners and viewers, and welcome to Papa-Norr Story Time. My name is Nana Ama Bachman, and I'm glad to be reading to you the 4th book from the series. The name of the book is Kofi and the Wedding Dress. Let's get into it, shall we? Kofi Opoku is at it again. His mother has been asked to sew a wedding dress for the daughter of one of the richest women in Boutique Room. All seems well until a dare almost ruins everything. Will Kofi be able to get away with it? Let's find out. Bam! Pow! Bam! Loud shouts could be heard from the television as Kofi watched the cartoon. Ring, ring! His mother's phone rang as it lay beside him. Ring, ring! Kofi ignored the phone and continued watching the cartoon. Ring, ring! The phone interrupted. Kofi, Kofi, bring me my phone. It is right next to you. Mrs. Opoku, his mother, shouted. Mommy, the bad guys are about to catch the good guys and bring my phone now. Kofi grabbed the phone and ran to the kitchen to give it to his mother. She quickly cleaned her hands on her apron and answered the phone call. Hello? Mr. Opoku asked. Ohiniwa, this is Akuya Asari, the voice on the other end replied. Oh, hello, Madam Asari, how are you? Mr. Opoku asked. I'm fine, thank you. How are you? It's been a while, Madam Asari replied. I'm fine, yes it has. What can I do for you? Remember when you sewed that dress for me to wear to the award ceremony 2 years ago? Madam Asari asked. Yes, the kente dress. The material was so lovely, Mr. Opoku replied. I got so many compliments on the dress that I told myself that you would sew my daughter Asabia's wedding dress whenever she gets married, and the time has come. The wedding was supposed to be next year, but it has been moved to late next month. Do you think you'll be able to do it? Sorry that it's such short notice. Asabia's husband-to-be got a surprise job offer in Kenya, and they want to get married before he goes. Madam Asari, I can do it. I would love to make Asabia's dress, Mr. Opoku said excitedly. The two women discussed a few more details and hung up. Mrs. Opoku gave a squeal of delight as she danced around the kitchen and called out to her husband, Yow, yow, you won't believe this. Madam Asari just called me. She wants me to sew Asabia's wedding dress, Mr. Opoku screamed. That's a big order, Ohiniwa. Congratulations, her husband exclaimed. The wedding is in a month. Asabia is not very fussy, so she wants something simple. But it has to be perfect, Mr. Opoku said. I'm sure you will do a good job, her husband replied, a huge smile on his face. Kofi wasn't paying attention to the conversation between his parents. His eyes were glued to the television. Madame Asare and Asabia came the next day to discuss styles and for measurements to be taken. They settled on a style for the wedding dress, and Madame Asare gave Mrs. Opoku money to buy all that would be needed. Mrs. Opoku spent all her free time working on the dress. She ate and sometimes even slept in her workshop, a kiosk next to the house. She banned Kofi and Foriwa, Kofi's younger sister, and even her husband from going anywhere near the kiosk. No one was to see the dress. 10 days before the wedding, as Abia came for her final fitting, Mrs. Opoku had a few alterations to make and then the dress would be ready. She was on track to deliver it on the Wednesday evening before the wedding. The Sunday before the wedding, right after lunch, Mrs. Opoku had to go on an emergency trip to Chebi. Her favorite aunt was very ill. She locked her kiosk, sternly warned her family not to go anywhere near it, and left. She'd be back on Tuesday. A little while after, Kofi went to the football field near his house to play with his friends. Adam, the tallest boy in Kofi's class, kicked the ball into a tree close to the football field. The boys ordered him to go and retrieve the ball while they rested. As they lay on the grass, Kofi began to tell his friends about the wedding dress and was complaining bitterly about the fact that his mother had banned him from the kiosk. Ninoy, an older boy in class 6 who liked to tease Kofi, overheard the conversation and started to taunt him. Kofi, why can't you go into the kiosk? Are you scared of your mother? Scared of my mother? I am not scared of anyone, Kofi lied. You are always boasting about how you can do anything you want. I dare you to go into the kiosk and as proof that you went in, cut a large piece of the dress and bring it to school tomorrow, Ninoy said. Kofi, who never backed down from a dare, said confidently, with his chest out, I will do it. I will even bring you 2 large pieces. Kofi, his friends exclaimed. Ninoy laughed as he continued. Your mother bought all the fabrics for the dress from my mother's shop. I sold them to her myself. Nobody else sells them in all of Boutique Room. If you bring me anything else, I will know. Don't try and deceive me. Kofi went home regretting his boldness. How am I going to get into the kiosk? He thought. As he approached his house, he walked quickly to the kiosk and began to look for a way in. There was no way he could enter through the door. He made his way to the side of the kiosk, where there was a small window. He pushed and fiddled with it, but it did not budge. He tried the window on the other side and realized that it was not as shut as securely as the other window. The window gave way, and Kofi managed to squeeze through, falling with a soft thud on the floor. The room was dark, with a little sunlight coming through the small window. Kofi stood for a few seconds to get his eyes adjusted to the darkness. He was beginning to make out his mother's work table, the sewing machine, and some other things. He turned to the corner of the room where his mother usually hung things she was working on, and immediately saw something large covered in a clear clothes bag hanging on the rack. He walked towards the rack and stood in front of the dress, heart beating wildly. Kofi switched the light on, lifted the clothes bag and examined the dress. It was beautiful. Though he knew very little about wedding dresses, he could tell that this was his mother's best work. Yet with trembling hands, Kofi grabbed a chair, stood on it, and took the dress off the rack. He placed it on the work table, took it out of the clothes bag, and cut off half of one sleeve and a large square from the bottom half of the dress. Kofi quickly put the dress back in the clothes bag and hung it on the rack. He then placed the scissors back where he found it, stuffed the cut pieces of the wedding dress into his pocket, and went out through the window. Once out, he closed it firmly and went into the house. The next day at school, Kofi proudly showed the cut pieces of the wedding dress to Ninoy and the other boys that had been on the football field when he had been dead. Kojo Mensah, his best friend, almost fainted. "Kofi, what have you done?" he exclaimed, hands on his head. Ninoy examined the pieces carefully and confirmed that they were indeed from the same yards of fabric he had sold to Kofi's mother. Before anyone could say anything else, the bell rang for the close of break time, and they all rushed to their classrooms. Mrs. Opoku returned to boutique room from Chebi that evening. She walked into her workshop humming the latest hip life song. She switched on the lights and stopped. The dress. Something was wrong with the dress. She rushed to the corner where the dress was hanging and uttered a soft cry. Oh no. Her hand trembled as she took off the clothes bag and saw the cut sleeve and the gaping hole. Suddenly, Mrs. Opoku felt very dizzy. She sat down slowly and stared at the dress. There was only one person who could have done this: Kofi. Thankfully, she had a few yards left of the fabric that she could use to fix the dress. She got to work all the while thinking of what she was going to do to punish her naughty son. She finished the dress late in the night and walked quietly out of the kiosk and went into the room Kofi and Foriwa shared. She took Kofi's favorite pair of shirt trousers and his favorite long-sleeve shirt and went back to her kiosk. With the leftover wedding dress fabric and some other fabric she had, she sewed ruffles and frills onto Kofi's favorite shirt and turned his shirt trousers into bell-bottom trousers. The next day, when they were all eating at the table, she told Kofi and Foriwa about what had happened. "I don't know who did it, but I was able to fix the dress," she said, looking fiercely at Kofi. "I can't believe someone would do that," Kofi said, feeling uncomfortable but slightly relieved that his mother hadn't accused him of cutting the wedding dress. Mr. Opoku, Kofi's father, had been outraged when his wife had told him what Kofi had done. But he calmed down after she told him her plan. "Kofi, I have a surprise for you. We will all be going to Asabia's wedding, and I have sewn a new pair of trousers and a new shirt for you to wear to the wedding," Mr. Opoku said. "Thank you, Mommy," Kofi said, surprised. On the day of the wedding, the Opoku family got ready. While Kofi was bathing, his mother laid the shirts and trousers on his bed and left the room. When Kofi came and saw the clothes, he couldn't believe they were for him. His mother had probably made a mistake and given him someone else's clothes. "Ma! Ma!" he called. "I think you have put someone else's clothes on my bed." "Kofi, that's what I sewed for you," his mother replied calmly. "I cannot wear this. Look at all the ruffles," Kofi shouted, holding the shirt up to her. "Wear it now. You didn't admit when I gave you the chance. You cut the wedding dress, and I told you, hoping you would admit that it was you. You lied. That is what you will wear to the wedding. Wear it now." With tears and protests, Kofi pulled on the trousers and wore the shirt. He looked like a salsa dancer. He tried to explain that Ninoy had dared him, which upset his mother even more. You cut up the wedding dress because of a dare? His mother asked, shocked. Mommy, Ninoy would have laughed at me. I couldn't let him think I was a coward, Kofi said timidly. Kofi, you care too much about what people think of you. I am disappointed in you. Go and change now. He got dressed and they all made a short walk to the church where the wedding was being held. As they approached the church doors, Kofi tried to hide behind his father, but his mother pulled him and made him sit by the aisle where everyone would see him. To his dismay, Ninoy and the other boys from his school came and sat in the pews behind and in front of him. He tried to hide, but Ninoy saw him, started laughing, and called the other boys to look at Kofi. The other boys laughed so hard, one of the ushers rushed over to quiet them. The laughter died down as the wedding march began to play, and as Sabia walked down the aisle with her father. It was a beautiful ceremony, and Mrs. Opoku got many compliments on the dress. The time for pictures with the couple came, and Madam Asabia insisted that Mrs. Opoku and her family take some pictures with the couple. The photographer, who could not stop laughing at Kofi's outfit, insisted that Kofi stand in front, where his shirt and trousers could be seen by all. To Kofi's shock, the photographer volunteered to deliver a free and large copy of the photo to Mrs. Opoku. She planned to frame it and hang it in the living room where everyone could see it. True to her word, 2 weeks later, when Kofi came home from school, he saw that the large framed photo was already hanging on the wall right above the television. Kofi did not watch cartoons for a week. We have come to the end of Kofi and the wedding dress. I hope you enjoyed this story. You can get copies of this book from Book Nook Store and mybooksiebox.com. Thank you.
Oh, Kofi. Kofi. What an embarrassment for your mother. If your mother wasn't experienced, she would have been very embarrassed. See what happened to you. Kofi, don't do that again. It looks like Kofi has too much time on his hands. I wonder what you would do if you had so much time on your hands. Would you be naughty? Would you play truant? Would you make jest? What would you do with your time? Well, thank you very much for watching Papa-Norr Storytime. My name again is Papa-Norr. Don't forget, if you're new to this channel, please watch the video, like it, subscribe to it, and click on that notification button. Very soon you'll be seeing the names of the stores, shops, where you can buy these books. It can be shipped to you anywhere around the world. So don't hesitate to make a purchase. All the authors whose books we're reading have many other books available for your reading pleasure. Thank you very much for watching Papa-Norr's Storytime. My name is Papa-Norr.